What's up, gamers? It's your boy, JKon. Welcome to another video. With kickoff and Masters Madrid both wrapped up and the regular split upon us already, I thought it'd be fun to power rank every single VCT team heading into stage 1. In yesterday's video, we covered the Americas and EMEA leagues, so today's video will be covering the Pacific and China leagues. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Professional Valorant has returned in full swing, and hopefully that means more content from me. So if you enjoy what I do, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Now, without further delay, let's get into it. And before we get this video started, I wanted to take a quick glance at my power rankings that I made for preseason and kind of just seeing how much I got right or wrong. And boy, let me tell you, I definitely got a lot wrong. So we'll definitely have to see how all of these teams perform in the regular split starting this week. Heading over to Pacific, again, we'll start from the top. We had to put Gen.G. Although Paper X played very, very well, you would have to argue that Gen.G played even better. I was just so impressed with their firepower. JKon is an absolute superstar in the making, in my opinion. Texture looks amazing. He's one of the best operators in the world right now, in my opinion. He's an absolute beast. And Gen.G really gave Sentinels a run for their money and could have taken Masters Madrid, but I think they crumbled a little bit, especially in the grand finals. But nonetheless, I still think this team is very, very good, and they should rightfully get their flowers because they performed very well and they're a great team. So shout out to Gen.G. They are my #1 seed coming into the regular split. At number 2, I have my Paper Boys. Not just because they performed well at Masters Madrid and the roster was kind of clicking a little bit more, but I also I'm sad about Magnet. I'm very, very sad about Magnet. But Jing is back, baby. He's back. And just because he's back, Paper Boys are back on top, baby. But for now, they're in second. Just because Gen.G is so good. But Paper Boys back on top. Heard it here first. Third place, I have the Sisanto brother. X-Curate T1. I think T1 looked really, really good. That semifinals against Paper Rex was very, very competitive. I'm super excited for their first matchup of the opener for this stage 1 split. And I think this team is really, really good. Izu looked very impressive, swapping between duelist and controller. Carpe's calling was pretty solid. And genuinely, I still think that Rossi was one of the most underrated signings in the entire offseason. I think he looks really good. I thought T1 looked really good. They had a chance to beat Paper Rex in that semifinals, but they just fell a little bit short in the end. In 4th, I have DRX. So DRX, not too bad for their newcomers. Foxy9 on the flex roll looked okay. Flashback looks really, really good. I really enjoyed seeing Flashback and JKon go back and forth, but I think JKon is the better prospect between them. And speaking of another prospect, DRX have called up Bane, who has been on DRX prospects in the past, and they will continue with a 6-man roster, which I'm super sus about, and I've given my complaints about it before. So we'll see how they go, but I still think if you have Mako, if you have Buzz, like, sheesh. In 5th place, I have RRQ. Yeah, I'm really high on this team. It was unfortunate that they ended up in the Gen.G Paper Rex group where they had to play Gen.G twice. But they played Gen.G twice very, very competitively. They pushed them very close. They actually could have won both of the series. And I just really like this team. They have a lot of firepower. They're fun to watch. And Elmimore wasn't firing as much as he used to. But I mean, if he picks up his form and everybody kind of gets back to where they were from 2023 and come into this year, they could be a very, very dangerous team. Speaking of another very dangerous team, we have Team Secret. So Team Secret has also looked very, very good. So actually, I couldn't say very good. They had a few maps where they looked a little bit iffy, but I would say the 2 players that did look very good were Jeremy and Envy. Definitely standout players. They were electric. They were lighting up the board. I think they were top of the stats in the Pacific region, and they were genuinely very impressive. I gave a lot of grief about Borkum, but he played very well as well. NDG had a couple bad performances, but he also had a really big bounce back performance and really carried his team. So Team Secret can also be another dark horse team to keep an eye out for, but I have them 6th right now. In 7th place, I have Talon. So Talon, I definitely underestimated a lot. They actually really impressed me in kickoff with some of their set plays, just what they were doing. Governor was shooting. God damn, like that boy was shooting. So yeah, they can be a really fun team to watch. I still have some question marks, I guess, what they're gonna do with Cruise and Surf, but credit where credit is due. They looked a lot better than I was expecting them to look. In 8th, I have Zeta. Zeta, I think, has potential. They definitely fell short on some of their maps that they played, especially their Icebox, where they just look completely completely lost with their setups, but the rookies definitely have potential. They had a few good maps, they had a few bad maps, but overall I really enjoy how this team was playing a lot better than Zeta from last year. I think Depa main duelist has also been a very nice thing to see, as he's a very good duelist main. So you know what, shout out to Zeta. In ninth place I have Bleed Esports. So Bleed didn't look that good at kickoff. They benched 2 of their players or released 2 of their players. Their IGL crazy guy is no longer there. Egoist, who I was super high on, is no longer there. And now to take their place is Retla, who has been with Bleed over and over and over again. And Zest, my boy Zest, I love that guy. But I just have so many question marks with Bleed. How are they going to perform with these new team members? How is Zest going to work in an English speaking environment? How good will Scary's IGLing be? How will the IGLing of Scary affect his playing? All those things, big question marks. In 10th and 11th I have DFM and Global. These ones kind of iffy because they can go back and forth a little bit, because I personally think that DFM looked a lot better than I was expecting, but I guess for now they'll stay down there. Global have potential. They have firepower. I thought Polvi was kind of pumping a little bit. Benkai wound back the years against Bleed, especially on Split. And yeah, but I think they were just cooking a little bit too much. I hate their bind comp. I just don't understand it. And they definitely have some work to do, but I don't think they can be able to break into the upper echelons yet. And as for DFM, I was very impressed by May, their duelist. I thought he played very, very well and super aggressive. Shout out to him. And last but not least, we have China. So at number 1, we can't really doubt it. We have EDG. Although EDG did go out of Masters Madrid with kind of a whimper, kind of getting whooped on the last 3.5 maps that they played, they're still the kings of China. And that's something that you kind of have noticed when they went to the international stages, where the lacking in fundamentals and mid-round calling kind of got beaten by them. For example, FPX, who I will put in 2nd place currently, they kind of got outread by Sadak. Actually, both teams did, the way that, especially on Sunset, they kept trying to go and plant on a site using the same walls, and Sadak just punished them over and over and over again. So China has firepower. They have very good players, especially their duelists and their sentinel players, but they have still a lot of room to grow and develop. But the top 2 don't really change too much there. In 3rd place I have Trace Esports. Although I think the Law King addition and minus Flexen might hinder this team a little bit, because Flexen has been a core member for 2 years and he was popping off. He was one of their weaker links during 2023 in my opinion, and during the kickoff this year he was the highest rated controller player in the region. So I think they got a little bit weaker, but I still really like this team, and shout outs to them. In 4th place, this might be yeah, I'm gonna put them here. In 4th place I have DRG. I was considering putting Wolves here, but I think DRG just consistently showed a little bit better performances. I think T-Virus, Luke, and Vukashu are absolutely insane. And with their roster change that they made, dropping Zeno, and I think bringing in Nijao from FPX, doesn't really look like it changed too much with this team. And they still look like a pretty solid team. And they look quite competitive within all their matches and within the play-in stage. So DRG for me will go 4th. And in 5th, kind of like I teased earlier, I will put Wolves. This might just be Wolves pilled, but I just love the Wolves team. I think they are really hype and they have a lot of potential. I think Spring is insane, and yeah, I just like the team. So you know what, Wolves 5th place. After them though, I have BLG in 6th. So BLG also made it to the play-in, but were not able to make it out, and they looked a little bit better than they were in the off season. But of course in the off season they were playing with some of their academy players, but I still think that this team has not found their form yet. They still have a lot more work to do. They signed Bale as a head coach, which I think will bring another dynamic to them, which I think will help a lot. So I have hopes for BLG that they can still rise up. YZ is still very good, and yeah, so we'll just have to see with them. Following BLG in 7th place, I have JDG. Now JDG definitely disappointed in kickoff, don't get me wrong, and me and probably a lot of other people were expecting this team to do a lot more, especially as they had the core 4 from Rare Adam, but they just did not perform that well as a unit. J Crow's IGLing wasn't super hot, which is why JDG have gone out and signed a real IGL this time, and hopefully they can elevate their play and play a lot better. Stu and Viva are still absolutely insane, so I expect this team to play well, but I think competition in China can be very fierce. In 8th place behind JDG, I have TEC. So TEC actually played quite well. I was actually really impressed by the way that they played. And the reason why I'm kind of ranking them a little bit lower is just I might be a little bit higher on some of the moves that other teams made. And also I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about TEC while I was watching them. It's like they had some pretty cool moments and good plays. RB, especially on the Rays, was absolutely insane, but they are still a new team together. They still are quite young, so they definitely have room to grow and develop. In 9th place, surprisingly making a jump up, is Nova. And this one was a big surprise to me, and I think Nova definitely was the big surprise because Nova just right out of the gate came out swinging. They didn't really win, but they definitely made it competitive, and their duelist player that they had, Guang, who was, I think, duelist sentinel player for them, he swapped off with Panghe. He was playing really well. He was popping off. His team looked pretty coordinated, and honestly, I was genuinely impressed by their team play. So Nova gets a jump up for me. In 10th place, I have All Gamers, and that makes Tyloo 11th. For All Gamers, same reservation that I had at the beginning of the year, where this is just a team full of kind of, I don't want to say bench players, but like bench players that have come together. They played all right, but nothing really amazing to shout out for. But then that leaves Tyloo, and I just think Tyloo just performed poorly. I thought Tyloo could do a lot better, but they just did not play well. I don't think they played around their carries very well. I don't like the Phoenix pick that they kept running. HFMI, I don't think is being utilized to its full potential. So we'll see if bringing in flexing can help elevate this roster, but they also lost their IGL, so I just have a lot of questions about them. So for me, Tyloo will end up in 11th place. And there you have it. Those are all of my power rankings for the Pacific and China leagues. Here's what my preseason power rankings look like, and here's what my rankings look like now. I think I'll do this over time and just compare and see how my rankings have changed over time and see if there's anything that I got completely wrong or completely right. Anyways, let me know down below in the comments what you think about my power rankings, and if you think I have any team that is either overrated or underrated. Do you think some teams are too high, or do you think some teams are too low? Do you think I'm disrespecting some teams too much, or do you think I'm overhyping some teams too much? I would love to hear what you guys have to say. The regular split has already kicked off this week, so if you're not tuned in for all of the VCT games, then I have no idea what you all are doing. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay hydrated. Peace.